Hello students, as we had decided to explain the poem Ulysses, so we will begin our class. So yesterday I told you about the author Tennyson and his age. So now we take up his poem Ulysses. Now why Ulysses? Now who is this Ulysses? First we have to understand. Now Ulysses is a mythological figure in Greek mythology, and he was considered to be the king of Ithaca. Ithaca is a place in Greece, and it is an island near the Ionian Sea. In fact, in the Ionian Sea in Greece. So he was the king of Ithaca, and he was a warrior also, and he took part in the Trojan War. And now we have to understand, like, which is this Trojan War, what it was all about. Now, Trojan War took place because Queen Helen of Sparta was abducted by the Trojan prince called Paris. And this queen was married to Menelaus. So she was abducted by the Trojan prince Paris, and then they took a battle between her husband and the person or the prince who had abducted her. So in that battle, our Ulysses was there. This is a mythological story, no? So our Ulysses was there. But if you go to the Greece vocabulary, you will find that there Ulysses is known as Odysseus. Odysseus. So Greeks called him Odysseus, and the Romans called him Ulysses. So we'll be considering him Ulysses, as Tennyson has written his poem entitled Ulysses. But this is the character Odysseus in Odyssey or Iliad of Homer. Okay. So he was a Greek warrior, he was a Greek king, he was king of Ithaca, and that time he was known as Odysseus, and now the Romans called him Ulysses, and Tennyson is considering him. Okay. So Ulysses reflects the spirit of the people of Victorian age over here. In his poem, we are finding Ulysses to reflect the spirit of the people, Victorian age, conservatism, optimism, and self-assurance. So all these three qualities we'll know from Ulysses' poem or from the character Ulysses. In this poem, we know that he is the king of Ithaca and he's a great warrior of Trojan War, and he has spent 20 years of his life in battles. Just imagine 20 years of his life in battles and adventure. Two things, adventure and battles, most important thing. And although he has traveled much, yet he is not contented. Second point, he has traveled a lot, he has enjoyed his battles, he has enjoyed his peers, yet he is not contented and happy. He is dissatisfied and he experiences boredom on his island home, Ithaca. Now he's returning back to Ithaca, and he says like he didn't want to stay there because he was all in love with traveling and voyage. So over here he says just sitting at a place, just minding the people or just ruling the people is very boredom. The poem is a monologue spoken by him where he expresses his discontent and describe. Now in this poem we will see that how he is discontented. Although he has traveled so much, although he has got so many honors, yet he is experiencing boredom, and he is now a bit aged. He's become a little bit older. Okay, so the poem is a monologue spoken by him where he expresses his discontent and describes his desire to keep sailing. You see, he's old and yet he is planning to sail and not planning to rule the country of Ithaca. Why so? Because he is all the time a passionate lover of traveling, where he is fulfilling the quotation called traveling is education. He is educating himself through travel. He is now become old and in his short time wants to get busy living. Like he is deciding like whatever time is left for him, he wants to live it to the full. He wants to live than busy dying. He wants to choose busy living rather than busy dying. And this is how it is. Then we come to the poem, and I'll be, you see, I have chosen a few lines as a stanza so that we don't have to go line by line because it will be time consuming. So I have chosen say about 6-7 lines stanza, and then I'm giving you a gist of that. Okay. So the poem begins like this. I'll go a bit faster and then I'll explain it to you. It little profits that an idle king by this still hearth among these barren crags marched with an aged wife. I meet and dole unequal laws into a savage race that hold, stored, and sleep and feed and know not me. Now here we find that he is coming to Ithaca, and he does not want to match his aged wife. He does not want to live with his wife. He does not want to administer. He does not want to rule his people. He does not want to have any kind of laws, unequal laws for his savage race, because people of Ithaca he considers as savage or uncivilized, or they're not that educated. So he says they are just living, they are just hoarding their lives, they are just storing their lives, and they're just eating and sleeping. So I don't want to waste my time over here. That is what he is feeling. And he says it little profits, there is no benefit in ruling the country and becoming an idle king, just sitting there, on the chair of the kingship. So he says that it is of no use. Then I have chosen the other line, 6 to 11. I cannot rest from travels. This line is very important. I cannot rest from travel. He has passion for travel. So I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. Another second point. He wants to drink life to its lees. Now, lees means it is the sediment of the wine, of the wine bottle. Supposing you store wine, so whatever is there, you see at the bottom is called lees. So he says he wants to drink the life to its lees, means he wants to live life to its fullest. All times I have enjoyed, greatly suffered. And then he says throughout my life, he says that he has suffered great and he has enjoyed also greatly, both with those that loved him, and he has enjoyed with all those people who loved him, whom he loved, and alone on shore and on the sea itself. If you see, wherever he went, he was suffering. Either he was suffering or he was enjoying. On shore and went through scudding drifts, the rainy hides vexed the dim sea. That means on the ocean also, when there were hides. Now hides means those stars which bring rain, which are associated with rain. So he says, so he says that in the rainy season also, when the sea was troubled, that time also I was enjoying. Yeah. Then he says, I am become a name for always roaming with a hungry heart. Now, he was very famous, as you know, Ulysses was very famous because he had a hungry heart and he had been, participating in the battle. So he was well known. So he says, I am become a name. I am very famous. Much have I seen, and because I have seen, known, I have known things, I have seen. This is all gathering knowledge. Much have I seen and known, he says, cities of men. What he has seen in those days, he says, he has seen cities, he has seen men, he has seen manners, he has seen climates, he has seen councils, governments, myself not least, but honored of them all. He says, I am not the least and I am honored of this all, because I have learned so many things. I have known all these things, you see, and drunk delight of battle with my peers. And he says that I have enjoyed, I have taken delight in the battle along with my equals. Just imagine what a spirit, what a kind of philosophy he is having, that in traveling, he does not require books. He's in, or you can say from travel, he is taking out the knowledge for himself. He says, and drunk delight to the battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of the windy Troy. Now, windy Troy means Trojan War. He had attended Trojan War. So, the city of Troy, which was windy, a lot of wind was there, and then ringing plains means um, clash of the weapons gave you the ringing sound. So, he says, between that I was there, I was enjoying. I am a part of all that I have met. Now, this is also very important. So, whatever you do, you have to become a part of it. That means you carry the experience with yourself. Yet all experience is an arch. Then he says that all my experience is still not fulfilled. It is still an arch. It is not still complete. It is unending. Where to gleams that untraveled world which margin fades. There is still, if I travel a land, uh, and if I see further, there is more land. Then there is another land. Then there is another land. So all the time it is calling me. All the time it is inviting me to invade it. And therefore he says that the margin fades away. The margin is there, the margin is fading, and ever forever I move. If I move forward, I keep on the margin fading. How dull it is to pause. And then this is also very important, that he says that it is very dull to To pause means stop. One should never stop your work, your studies, or your living your life, or whatever you're doing at home. He says that it is very dull to stop. How dull it is to pause, that is to stop, to make an end. And that if you stop living, if you stop doing something, that is the end of your life. If you stop your education, that is end of your life. So to make an end, if you stop your traveling, it is end, like this. To make an end, to rust unburnished. So uh, if you do not keep on working, keep on moving, keep on going, you will get rust, as you have the rust on the iron vessels. To rust unburnished, if you use the iron vessel, there is no rust. So keep on using yourself. He says not to shine in use. Otherwise, you will not shine in use. You will not shine. You have to keep on using your life there. Then only you can shine. As to breathe were in life. So only breathing is not life. There are hundreds and millions of people who just breathe, just eat, sleep, and hold their life. So he says that breathing is not life. Only breathing is not life. You have to keep on working, moving, just keep on doing something or the other. Life piled on life are all too little. For him, for our Ulysses, life piled on life, multiple births would have been less for him to know the world, and one of the little remains. And he says, and one to me remains. Whatever it is, multiple lives, even if I come a number of times, still something will be remaining there for me. And but every hour is saved from that eternal silence. I'll be saving every hour, every minute, or every hour from that eternal silence. Now eternal silence is the death. Something more, a bringer of new things. He says, I want to bring new things to this world. And while it were for some three sons to store, and he says, I cannot stay in Ithaka for another 3 sons, means 3 years. He says, I cannot stay over here. Although I am old, I will have to travel. I have to leave this place to my son Telemachus and hoard myself. And I cannot keep sitting over here, hoard my life, store my life, just sitting there and doing nothing and just ruling people. That is not my part of way of living. And this gray spirit yearning in desire. Gray spirit means old. He's now become old. He's become old, and he says, still this old spirit is wanting in desire. I still have to go for travel, to follow knowledge. And go for what? Travel for what? To follow knowledge. I want to gain knowledge like a sinking star. Now, sinking star, why is he using the term called sinking star? Sinking star means probably he is nearing death, because he has already declared that he is old. And then he says, beyond the utmost bound of human thought. So I want to gather knowledge like a sinking star, beyond the human thought, beyond the bound of human thought, beyond the thought of the human being. That knowledge I want. Then we see, after expressing himself, he is introducing his readers or us to his son Telemachus. Then he will tell you about the son Telemachus. This is my son, he says. This is my son, mine own. He is mine own Telemachus. And his wife's name was Penelope. So he says that this is my son, mine own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and the isle. Now, scepter means that staff, that rod kind of a thing, golden rod, which is symbolic of the rule. So he says, to whom I leave the scepter, and the isle means island. So I want to leave this island and this rod, this ruling rod, to my son Telemachus. Well loved of me, I love him quite a bit, and discerning to fulfill. He is quite refined, he is quite judicious to fulfill the duties. Thy labor by slow prudence. He is very patient, and he will make a mild king, and he will mildly rule the rugged people. Now, rugged people of Ithaca means uncultured, uncivilized people of Ithaca could be handled and managed by my son Telemachus. In his soft degrees, he will be mildly handling them. Subdued, control them to the useful and the good, and that's how he will control them, and he will take out good out of them. He will control them and make them live a good life, or you can say he will make a good use of those people. Most blameless is he, centered in the sphere. He is not at all blamed any time. So he is blameless and he's centered. He is very much focused, my son. So all the qualities of Telemachus, of common duties, and he's focused to the common duties, destined not to fail. He is very fair, he can never fail. And in office of tenderness, to see all the nice things done to the people, he will never fail in doing all the nice things to the people. And pay meet adoration to my household gods. All the household gods would be paid adoration by him. He will keep respecting and worshipping all the household gods. So where I am gone, when I am gone, he says, then when I am gone from here, he will do his work and I will do my work. I will be on the voyage, he will do his work and I will be doing my work. Now this is what he's talking about Telemachus, and he does not want to become a king, and he wants to surrender his kingdom to his son Telemachus, because he wants to travel. There lies the port. And then we see in the last section, we see that he says, there lies the port. Port means that water port, that sea port. So there lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail. Vessel means the ship is puffing its sail, that puffing thing, the steam comes out and it puffs. So that is the preparation of the ship. The vessel puffs her sail, and the gloom, the dark, it is very dark outside. Broad seas are very broad. If you see from the shore, you will see that sea is very broad. So their gloom, it is dark, it is very sad. My mariners, all those my fellow beings, all my all my mariners, a soul that have toiled and wrought and thought with me. All my mariners up till now had been with me. They had worked with me. They had thought with me. They had worked hard with me. That ever with a frolic welcome took, and they always took thunder with very cheerfully with me, and sunshine also they took very cheerfully with me, and opposed free heads and free foreheads, you and I are old. And he says that they were quite independent and confident, and they dealt with thunder and sunshine equally. See, and they never complained about the thunders. You and I are old, he says. Old age hath yet his honor and his toil. Very important point. He says that old age hath its honor. Old age definitely has its honor and has its responsibilities too, has its works too, has its responsibilities too. Death closes all. And then he says, when you become old, he says, death closes all, but something before the end. What has to be done when there is death in front of you? Something has to be done. Something great has to be done by you. But something before the end, some work of noble, great note, some work of noble note, some work of great, some great work has to be done by you before death comes to you, he says. May yet be done. Still, even if you're dying tomorrow, supposing if a person is dying tomorrow, so tomorrow morning he should be doing something great. That's what it means. May yet be done, yet it could be done, and not unbecoming men that strive with gods. Not means, he says, becoming men. I am a becoming man. I am a becoming man. Becoming man means famous man. Becoming men that strove with gods. I strove with gods. I fought with gods. Gods, the Greek gods, he says. The lights begin to twinkle from the rock, and then he says that there are lights. That means the stars have come up, and now it is dark, he says. The lights begin to twinkle. Now here lights means the stars which are coming up in the dark night from the rock. Okay. The long day wanes, the slow moon climbs. The long day wanes. The long day is now decreasing. It is lessening now. The long day wanes and the slow moon climbs. The slow moon is climbing, moans around with many voices. There are voices which are moaning of that sea. Then he says, come my friends, it is not too late. Still he finds it is not too late. As you see, we have come to know that he is old, but still he says it is not late. It is not too late to seek, to find a newer world. Still we can find. This is the Victorian spirit. When it was ruling all over the world and it was sending its ships, the Victorian England was sending its ships to America and Africa and India. So here he says, let us seek a newer world. Push off. Now these are all sailing terms. Push off the ship. Push off and sitting well, sit properly, smite the water, smite the waves. You see, smite and the sounding furrows. The sound created when you work the oar on the water. for my purpose holds. He says, what is my purpose which is holding to sail beyond the sunset? Now this is my purpose. At this age also he's saying that this is my purpose to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars. Now baths, why baths? Because it appeared as if the stars were descending in the ocean. They were, they were drowning in the ocean. So therefore he says the baths of all the western stars coming from the west until I die. It may be until I die I have to keep on sailing till the sunset. It may be we shall touch that. It could be possible we will touch some good islands, some high, again Victorian spirit, we will come to know some newer islands, we will reach some newer islands, some good islands, and see the great Achilles, hero of, again another hero of Trojan War. So he says it could be possible that I could be meeting Achilles, whom we knew, the hero of the Trojan War. Then too much is taken. He says, though much is taken, much abides, still it remains. Though much has been done in this life, though much has been done, though much has been taken, much abides, much is remaining. Still there is remaining. And though we are not now that strength, and now we are not that young, full of strength, which in old days, which we moved earth and heaven, we could, when we were young, we had strength, we could move the earth and heaven. In Hindi you say Akash Patal Ek Karna. So he moved earth and heaven. That which we are one equal temper of heroic hearts. We are all the mariners, and I am of one heroic heart, and made weak. Now these two lines are very important. The last lines you will be considering, or you will be including them in your answer. And these are the key lines. These are the lines. Made weak by time and fate. Although I have been made weak. I have now become weak because of age. I have been made weak by time and fate, by destiny, but I am strong in will. So one should be strong in will. Although you are of 80, 90, but strong in will. To strive means to struggle. Keep on struggling to the last breath. He says, but strong in will, to struggle, to seek, to find, and to seek, to find, and not to yield, and not to surrender. One should never surrender. One should find. One should struggle, and one should be strong in will, no matter what his age be. Okay, so it was an effort, and I think the time is up. I think it shouldn't be more